perspective, today I want to talk about this big old saucy elephant that's sitting smack dead in the middle of the Obama room. Now, many of us, I'm sure you remember this. Let me show you guys this. Y'all remember this? This is the cover of Newsweek magazine. And here you can see it has the former president wearing a rainbow halo on his head. And it's titled The First Gay President. Now, in the normal circumstances, if any president was shown on the cover of a mainstream news magazine with a rainbow halo around his head, calling him the first gay president, don't you think that said president would be upset? Don't you think he'd be livid? Like, would said president, if he were straight, a straight heterosexual man, and Newsweek published this, wouldn't you feel some sort of kind of way? For example, let them depict Donald Trump like this. And one, well, no one would believe it, right? Two, Trump would sue the pants off of the magazine. But in the case of Barack Obama, is that what happened? No, I don't recall or remember anyone at all making a huge deal about this. Like, by the time this was revealed, I think the entire country was primed and prepped for this to actually be a reality, which is what I believe was the entire point all along. Now, I've always been like this inquisitive person, and I was always the but why child. And in true childlike but why fashion, I am still bewildered, like scratching my head and asking a whole lot of questions. Like right now, I want to ask, why is the country's first black president on the cover of Newsweek with a rainbow halo on top of his head? And why is said president sitting, staring off into the abyss with a caption, the first gay president? Why is Barack Hussein Obama known as the one president who was responsible for lighting up the White House in rainbow colors, declaring the nation's support of pride? Why is he giving commendations and celebrating the advocacy work of a Black Atlanta pastor whose claim to fame is marrying a man? This is the side piece of information that I wanted to bring up. But the Atlanta pastor that I'm referring to is Bishop O.C. Allen. Now, you might be wondering, well, who is O.C. Allen, right? Well, in 2015, Bishop O.C. Allen was appointed by the same president, Barack Obama, and the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services. He was appointed to the Presidential Advisory Council on HIV/AIDS. A homosexual who calls himself a bishop is in charge of a Presidential Advisory Council on HIV/AIDS? That's not strange. That's not strange or weird at all. But then in 2016, the same bishop was appointed the Southeastern chair of the DNC LGBT Advisory Board. Wait a minute. The DNC has an LGBT advisory board? Why on earth does the DNC need such a board? Just asking questions. Remember, I'm the but why child. Now, Bishop Allen is also a national ambassador and a consultant for the NAACP concerning the Black Church HIV initiative. Why on earth is the first Black president concerned with this? And why is a homosexual pastor an ambassador for the NAACP? Why is any of this on the forefront of any presidential's list of concerns? Well, to answer that, I would say, in my opinion, it's because this is who he is. This is who he is always represented. A member of the sodomite community is who he has always been, allegedly. But based on my observation and everything that I've just spelled out to you, what else are we supposed to think? Well, I'm here to say, y'all, Barack Obama made a fool out of all of us. Hell, I voted for him twice. And so I'm ready to own up to my own foolishness and participation in this situation and publicly declare that the reason why so many of us did it is because it's the direct result of two things: spiritual blindness and ethnic idolatry. Many of us who lacked the spiritual discernment and the spiritual eyes to see what was right in front of us chose to suppress certain revealed truths in our own unrighteousness because of our ethnic idolatry. Because many of us, we felt that there was some virtue in saying we have the first Black president. And because we viewed him as some sort of melanin messiah, we allowed the idolatry of our ethnicity, glorying in our flesh, taking pride in the flesh, blinded many of us to the spiritual reality of who Barack Obama was. Now, this ninja, to be fair, waited until after the midterms and in the last 2 years of his administration to expose who he really was. Now, in his mind, he's like, I can't run again. So what he did was he plowed full speed ahead, and he did it on purpose with all of the LGBT stuff. And since Black folks were already blinded by the melanin messiah, they weren't paying attention to how he was moving, right? So the average Black preacher wasn't saying anything about this from the pulpit to make the congregation kind of think and perk up and pay attention. And if you think about it, back in 2015, I was not politically engaged, on top of the fact I was newly converted. I'm a baby Christian. I had just become a Christian around this time. So coupled with the fact, spiritual blindness, I'm spiritually dead in my sin and trespasses. I'm an ethnic idolater. I'm glorying in my flesh. And you know, it's pro-Black this and pro-Black that and the blackity this and the blackity that. Like everything's all black all the time. Because this is how I'm viewing things, I was blinded by the reality of the big old elephant in the Obama room, which was his link and connection to the rainbow cult. Now take a listen to this.
You're just a guy who's in town for the night, and it sounds like you're looking to party.
Yeah, pulled up in a bar outside, and there's this guy that's introduced to me as Barack Obama. I had given Barack $250 to pay for coke. I start putting a line on a CD tray to snort, and next thing I know, he's got a little pipe and he's smoking. So I just started rubbing my hand along his thigh to see where it was going, and it went the direction I had intended it to go.
Even though you had sex with him twice, you did cocaine with him, watched him smoke crack twice, you had no idea who he was.
I had no idea who he was.
Let me just ask the obvious question. What was Obama like on crack? Is it your sense that that's who Obama is, just transactional, or that he's bisexual, or like what is this?
It definitely wasn't Barack's first time, and I would almost be willing to bet you it wasn't as long.
The guy's running for president and credible information comes out that he's smoking crack and having sex with dudes. That seems like a story.
Well, it would be a story if the media really cared about telling people the truth.
This dude out here smoking crack with a sodomite. Media is silent. Not only do we have his testimony, that gentleman that you just heard from, that's Larry Sinclair. We have a signed, sworn affidavit, and this man passed a lie detector test. And I think more than one. So my question is Larry lying? Like, why is it that Barack never addressed these sodomite allegations? Why is it he never addressed this smoking crack in the back of a taxi and snorting cocaine? Now, he did admit to snorting coke in the past, but, I'm just saying, in the context that Larry Sinclair is talking, why is it that he never addressed this? Perhaps addressing it would have caused more attention to be given to it, on top of the fact that the mainstream media, they actively suppressed this and refused to cover it. You heard what Larry Sinclair just said. Barack Obama, in my opinion, is one of the worst things that could have ever happened to this country. And it's not just because of all the sodomite stuff. That's not the only reason. Barack destroyed several things, and there are several things that we can lay at his feet. And one in particular I want to talk about is how Barack destroyed the voucher program in DC. He destroys the voucher program, yet sent his children to private schools. Barack destroyed the voucher program because the teachers union told him to do so. So his kids can go to private school, but yours can't. Right? The voucher program, he knows, and every other Democrat legislator knows, they know that the voucher program is cheaper than the cost to educate a child in a failing public school, yet he did away with the program. Did away with the program. So these wicked people, they are so low down that they will purposely want to cripple kids for the rest of their lives, knowing that if they stay in this failing public school, that they don't have a fighting chance to get ahead in life, knowing they know that the data proves otherwise, that if they're in a better school, that they will perform better, but they do it so that they can give the teachers union, who overwhelmingly work and lobby, they work to do nothing. They get to keep their jobs, whether your children are performing well or not. Whether your children learn or not is irrelevant. The union gives money to the Democratic Party, and who suffers? The children, especially the black children. Yet DC votes 92% for the Democratic Party. And this is why they wanted to add Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico to the electorate map, because they figured we could get 4 more U.S. senators. And that way we can maintain control. That's what they did. Let's get 4 more U.S. senators so that we can maintain control. So I'm just here doing this video because I think it's time we need to stop tiptoeing around this big old saucy sodomite elephant in the room. You can hate me all you want to, but I'm just trying to impart some truth into your soul today, right? Because see, lefticals and progressives, they despise voices like mine. Like, do you want to know why it is that black conservatives are hated so much? It's because anyone that tries to pull you away from your oppressor, they will resist you violently. So a black conservative represents the individual who's trying to pull you away from your oppressor. The oppressor, the Democrats, the leftists, and the progressive, those are the oppressor. And they don't have to be white. At this point, it is ideological, not ethnic. It's not dermal or external. It is ideological. So Democrats of all stripes, that is the oppressor. And the person like me, the black conservative who comes along shedding light on who these people are, when you try to go to other Democrats in order to say, listen, this is the truth of who's oppressing you, I'm just here to wake you up and pull you away. Those people who are being oppressed will fight you violently. So listen, You can get mad at me all you want to. But this is why I can identify with someone like Harriet Tubman. Consider me your Harriet. I'm your Harriet. I'm down here making trips back to the plantation. I'm just here to snatch some, many at gunpoint, figuratively, to pull you away from your oppressor. And some of y'all are literally fighting me to stay. I started talking about school choice to educate you on the beauty and the flexibility and the liberty and freedom of having school choice. And you fight against it. No, we don't want school choice. Democrats say school choice is bad because it takes money and gives it to rich white folks, so we can't have school choice. Like, blacks are voting on purpose for policies that take away your freedom. Few examples. Blacks are overwhelmingly voting for gun reform, right? Like, how do you vote to disarm yourself when you claim that white supremacy is a threat to you? Blacks are overwhelmingly voting for politicians who are strongly against school choice. They want your kid to stay in a failing school, and then you vote for them, and you don't see how slavery is a choice. These politicians are telling you that you have to keep your kid in a failing school, and then you co-sign to such slavery by voting them into office. Not only that, blacks are supporting open borders. Because if you vote for Democrats, you're supporting open borders, despite the fact that you've seen what open borders can do to a municipality, particularly in the inner city. But you vote for it. You actually vote for politicians that say, yes, we're going to keep sanctuary city status, and we welcome them all. And then we're going to raise your property taxes, and we're going to give them money to feed them, clothe them, provide shelter for them, health care for them. We're going to take your money and give all of that for them. And then you vote for your oppressor anyway. Blacks are supporting open borders. Blacks are overwhelmingly supporting abortion, which categorically decreases future generations, actually diminishing your generational wealth capacity. You can't have generational wealth if you don't have anyone to pass it on to. And if you're constantly doing abortion, black men and black women can't pair bond, get married, keep a family intact, have children, and then have any sort of wealth to pass on to the next generation because there's no progeny. So like all of these are just basic examples of black people choosing slavery on purpose. And I am here like a modern day Harriet Tubman trying to snatch you away from your oppressor. And black liberals respond in violent protest because black Democrats are slaves looking for masters, and white liberals are masters looking for obedient and compliant slaves. But hey, what do I know? Right? I'm just a female Christian American Negro who's learned how to function in her freedom, believing that I'm an adopted daughter of the one true God, who the Son has set free. So the spiritual blindness that I once had is gone. And the ethnic, narcissistic, idolatrous worship of my skin no longer has me bound. So I'm able to look back, analyze, and see that Barack Obama was indeed the Trojan horse that effectively put us on the path of American destruction, destroying the country, and ushering in this elephant of sexual perversion in the room that we can't seem to shake. But what do you guys think? Right? Like, do you believe that Barack Obama was one of the worst things that could have happened to this country? And how his presidential reign made America known? Like, we're known for sexual perversion and all kinds of sexual deviance? Or was he just the best president of our modern lifetime that, helped America to embrace all kinds of variations of love and acceptance? Whatever you think, if you liked what you heard today, or even if you didn't, go ahead and hit the like button. Share this episode and drop me a comment below. And as always, remember that truth isn't just something that we talk about. It's someone we follow. Love you guys. See you next time. Grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Standard of Truth podcast. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to check out the Standard Home and Living lifestyle store at standardhomeandliving.com. We've got everything from book studies, journals, and even podcast merch, so you can take a piece of this conversation with you wherever you go. And of course, be sure to follow me on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok for more updates, behind the scenes, and daily insights. You can also stay connected at thestandardofTruthPodcast.com, where you'll find all the latest news and events, including live events coming to a town near you. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Until next time, keep standing firm in the truth. Grace and peace.